G'day guys, how's it going? My name is CJ. When we think about Bluetooth speakers, there are only a few products that we would probably recommend to our friends and family. The first one is probably one of these, which is the UE Boom. The second is probably going to be the JBL Flip series, and then maybe you'd push upwards and maybe consider the Bose SoundLink series. But the product that I've got today comes from a little known Chinese company that you and I probably only know them for their iPhone cables, their USB cables, maybe their power bricks or power banks. But little did you know that they also produce some really nice Bluetooth speakers. The company that I'm talking about is Blitzwolf. And the device that I've got today is called the Blitzwolf F4 X-Base Bluetooth speaker. Let's take a look. So taking a look at the speaker itself, it's a fairly simple rectangular box that's surrounded by a speaker grill. On the top it has a really nice unobtrusive and simple design with a fairly nice aluminium trim surrounding the sides. In the middle you have a fairly straightforward set of inline chrome buttons. Paired with the inbuilt mic, you've got a phone button which can control hands-free function. You've got yourself a volume control button, and then you've also got track skipping and of course the play and pause feature. On the back you'll notice some fairly straightforward inputs. You've got an aux-in jack, a USB port, and a power button. Then when you pick it up, the first thing you'll probably notice is that it's got a really nice reassuring heft. And that can only mean two things. The first one being that it's made from really nice materials. And that seems to be the case with the F4. Now the speaker itself houses dual 10-watt drivers with an 18-core aluminium alloy that are designed to centrally radiate bass and allows for a decent rendition of the all-important lower tones. And then the second thing it'll mean is that it's got a decent sized battery, which it does. The F4 contains a 4000 mAh battery where Blitzwolf rates it up to 7 to 10 hours of playback on 70% volume. In my use, I find Blitzwolf probably underestimated the amount of battery life it had because it well exceeded 7 to 10 hours of battery life, and that was even when I was playing music back at almost full volume. And then the speaker is then paired with Bluetooth 4.0 with a maximum effective range of around 10 meters, but that can vary depending on interference in between. Now pairing it with your device is super easy. If you're doing it for the first time, the LED light will start blinking blue and that means it's ready to pair. Otherwise all you need to do is hold onto the power button until the LED light starts blinking and then you're ready to pair again. Then once it's done, the LED light remains solid and then you're ready to pump your tunes. Now this is all well and good, but how does it perform and sound? Well, I went into this review thinking that this was just going to be another cheap Chinese Bluetooth speaker that won't sound any good. But all these prejudgments was completely wiped away when I played the first track. Immediately I noticed that the sound was detailed, crisp and balanced. But then thinking that a cheap Chinese Bluetooth speaker couldn't possibly sound this good, I immediately grabbed my UE Boom and compared, and the results blew me away. Compared to the UE Boom, the F4 sound was clearer, more detailed, and more pleasing to the ear. The highs were crisp, the lows were punchy, and the mids had really good definition. If there were any complaints, then I guess I could say that the bass could be a little bit louder, and when compared to the UE Boom, it doesn't get quite as loud overall. But that being said, it will still easily fill a room or a small to medium-sized apartment without any issue. And all of these characteristics were pretty consistent regardless of which musical genre you listen to, whether it's hip-hop, R&B, techno, house, lo-fi, classical, jazz, you name it. My overriding impression is that the F4 is an extremely pleasing speaker to listen to, and that's even compared to more expensive competition like the UE Boom or the JBL Flip. But what about its drawbacks? It's still, in the end, a cheap Chinese Bluetooth speaker, so surely there has to be. And there are, but I wouldn't call them big enough to be deal breakers. So to start off with, Blitzwolf calls this an outdoor speaker, but the F4's metal and aluminium build doesn't lend it to being particularly rugged, and it also doesn't have any ingress protection, so you're gonna want to keep this away from the swimming pool. Also, it becomes a little fidgety when you're trying to connect this to another device via Bluetooth. The F4 can only save a maximum of one device at a time via Bluetooth, so you really have to make sure that the original device has been disconnected. Then the speaker's top surface is screaming for an NFC chip to be embedded on the top. Aesthetically and functionally, it would have made sense. And it also doesn't charge particularly fast either. So forget about charging and playing music at the same time, and it'll take upwards of 3 to 4 hours before it's back to 100% charge. And when you compare it to the UE Boom or the JBL Flip, it doesn't have any fancy software optimizations which allow multiple F4s to be connected at the same time and sync the music together. Then finally, whilst I mentioned it as a plus earlier, the hefty weight coming in at 676 grams, whilst means that it's solidly built, and it is, it also means that it's going to take a bit of a toll on your back or your shoulders when you want to take it out on a trip. But otherwise, when we're talking about a speaker that costs between 50 to 70 Australian dollars or between 40 and 50 US dollars, and compared to mainstream competition where the F4 actually sounds a bit better, it becomes a no-brainer. So if you don't need multi-speaker syncing and you're looking for a Bluetooth speaker that sounds excellent and doesn't break the bank, then definitely look for one of these F4s. It's one of the best speakers you've never heard of. Also, if you're interested in that cool little lamp that I was showing in the B-roll earlier, it's actually a smart LED lamp that is actually also made by Blitzwolf. And you can check out that and the speaker in the links in the description below. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you own one of these speakers? Do you have another one that you'd like to recommend? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, if you enjoyed what you saw, give us a like, and if you haven't already, do consider subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Say good day, Mum, for me. Cheers.